Hello and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back. If you are not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Today I'm returning to the theme of henna, and I'm going to show you how I do a henna touch-up of the roots only. This will be great for you to follow if you want to just dip your toe in the henna waters and try hennaing just a small portion of your hair. I'll show you how to do it step by step today. And as we know, henna is great for strengthening and to encourage growth, and of course for covering those greys. You know that I want to cover those greys as soon as they start coming through. So let's find out how I do it. Hello and welcome to Love Those Locks, the channel where I'll help you care for your hair, especially for the lady of a certain age, and where I'll be charting my second Sisterlocks journey. So here we are, starting out with my hair as it is currently, with, as you can see, the greys on display. Most of my greys are concentrated around the middle and the front and the sides. And so today I'm going to be applying henna. Henna, as we know, is great for hair in many ways. It strengthens the hair, it promotes hair growth, it reduces hair fall, it prevents dandruff, controls scalp itchiness, and it can be used as a natural hair dye and to cover greys, which is the reason why we're here today. So as you can see, a close-up there of all the greys and along the hairline as well. I start by making an amla tea, which I'll be adding to the henna mixture, a tablespoon of amla tea and half a cup of hot water, which I then stir and then set aside overnight. And then the next day I get a stocking and strain it using the strainer and the stocking. The reason for that being that the amla powder has a fine sediment which could settle in Sisterlocks. So to avoid that happening, I strain it through that double or triple layer of the strainer as well as the doubled over stocking, and then just pour it through. It needs a little bit of teasing to get it through, but it's worthwhile just to prevent that sediment in the hair afterwards. And then once this tea is made and strained, I'll add it to the henna mixture, and it will just help to dull down the sharpness of the reddish orange hue of the henna, and you can see the sediment at the bottom of the jar there. And then I make the henna paste, so this is the henna powder, and to the henna powder I add, and it's a cup of henna powder, so I add about a cup of water, but I add that gradually because we want to make sure that the batter isn't too thick and that it isn't too thin, and it's easier to just add the water gradually so that it's the right consistency and in a more controlled way. So I'm adding some more water there, and I'll also add the amla, and I'll keep mixing until it's sort of a thick consistency that's thick enough to stay in but not too thin that it runs down the sides of my head. And then I'll add in 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, which is great for the hair, but it also adds slip to the mixture, makes it easier to blend and also to spread on the Sisterlocks. I also add 5 drops of ylang ylang essential oil, and it's a lovely sensual floral essential oil that strengthens the hair follicles and conditions the hair. It also adds shine and it stimulates hair growth. Amla also has a number of benefits, including hair strengthening and preventing greys and stimulating hair growth and reducing hair loss. So these additional optional ingredients are worthwhile. And then I cover the henna with cling film or Saran wrap and leave it overnight for it to develop. So now I'm ready to apply the henna, but before I do, I use my henna, or rather my shea butter mixture. So you can either use shea butter or the shea butter mixture, which the recipe for that's available in the playlist. And that just means that just apply it around the hairline so that you don't end up dyeing your skin. And here you can see the mixture has changed, the Lawson dye has been released, and you can see that reddish colour, which means it's ready to apply. And it also means that it's going to bind more easily to the hair strands, and particularly those greys, which you will see shortly. And so now I just work through section by section, gathering together a section of Sisterlocks, and then just going neatly section by section, adding the henna paste and working it through. I start with the root because that's where most of the greys are, and just wanting to make sure that I get full coverage from the root. And I work my way along carefully and consistently from one side through to the next. Add enough henna onto the brush just so that you do get full coverage and that you don't end up leaving strands behind. There's nothing worse than getting to the end of it, rinsing it out, and then realising that you've missed a section in the middle. So slap it on generously and don't skim on it. So keep adding it until you cover all of the sections that you want to cover. So as I say, I'm focusing today in this Henna Express video on the front, the middle section and the sides, including the hairline. I finish up the hairline towards the end because it's the thinner section, and also because there isn't as much henna on there and the henna is likely to dry faster there, and what we don't want is for the henna to dry on the hair, because once it dries then the action of the dye will stop, and also because it will be difficult to rinse out once it's dried rock solid. So work through as quickly as you can, but also if you're new to henna and you're not too sure, try it on a smaller section, and then once you become more accustomed to using it, then you can spread your wings and expand on how much you cover at a time. So just go over the sections. There isn't a problem with henna if you overlap sections you've done before, and if anything, it helps to intensify the end colour. So don't be afraid of overlapping. It's very different to using artificial dyes. So as you can see, I'm now pasting the henna paste onto the hairline, and I do that, as I say, at the very end. And then also I discard the brush and I work my way in with my fingers, and that's just to make sure that I haven't missed any sections, and it's easier to feel with your fingers through the gloves. Very helpful to wear 2 sets of gloves as well, because henna will stain anything and everything it comes into contact with. So it's worth having 2 gloves on, 2 sets of gloves. And that's it. Full coverage. And now to the cling film, which will keep it moist, and just wrap that round all over the sections that have henna on them to keep the henna moist until you're ready to rinse it off. So this is really important. So don't skim on the cling film, wrap it round as many times as you need to, and make sure you've covered all sections carefully. Leave it on for up to 5 hours, and I wouldn't recommend less than 2 hours because you want to make sure that the henna dye does take. So 5 hours maximum, and I've done that, and now I'm ready to rinse. So this is the part where there will be a lot of rinsing. Start by rinsing. Use cool water, not too hot, not too cold, but certainly cool, and rinse, rinse and rinse again until the water runs clear. It will take a while, and you'll need to move the shower head around just so that you get all the different sections and that you rinse it out fully. Once you've done that, then grab hold of your shampoo that you will have diluted in a container with some water. It's much better if it's diluted, because using shampoo neat, it just has too much slip and it's difficult to work through. So if you dilute it, then it's much easier. So work that through, work it through the Sisterlocks, and then rinse that through carefully. It will help to release some more of the henna, so that's a good thing. And rinse thoroughly. I do 2 sets of shampooing, and that just makes sure that I get rid of any remaining henna that's lurking in or between the Sisterlocks. So rinse thoroughly. So in total that's 3 sets of rinsings. The first one, then shampoo, then a second rinse, shampoo again, and a third rinse. And as you can see, the water is now running clear. And that's exactly what you want. And then blot dry and wrap with a towel. If you use a black towel, that reduces the amount of lint or the likelihood of lint or fluff getting into your Sisterlocks. So wrap and let it dry. Now, because henna can be drying, I then add an oil. So once you've blot it dry, and you can actually see there where the henna has taken, it's covered the greys successfully, which is great. And now onto some oil. I add a bit of oil to my scalp just to make sure that my scalp isn't dry. Henna can be a little drying, so just get in there and add some oil. And then at the end, add some oil to your hands, rub it in, and rub it along the length of your Sisterlocks, just to give it a bit of a moisture boost. And that's it. You finished the Henna Express. All done. That's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and share and subscribe and hit the bell. It's great to always receive your comments, so please do drop a line below, and it also encourages me to keep the channel going and to keep producing content for you. Look forward to hearing from you even in the comments. Bye. Consider subscribing if you're not already a subscriber. Today I am going to talk about henna again, and I have actually just hennaed my hair. So today's henna video